I used to go there quite a bit. Oh, years ago now, but I stopped. I used to like that place. Spent quite a bit of time in there. That was before I went away. Just before, I think that place had a lot to do with it. They're all a good bit older than me. But they always used to listen. I thought they understood what I said. I mean, I used to talk to them. I talked too much. That was my mistake. The same in the factory, standing there or in the breaks. I used to talk about things, and these men, they used to listen. Whenever I had anything to say, it was all right. The trouble was, I used to have kind of hallucinations. They weren't hallucinations, I used to get the feeling I could see things very clearly. Everything was so clear. Everything used to get very quiet. Everything got very quiet. All this quiet and this clear sight, it was... But maybe I was wrong. Anyway, someone must have said something. I didn't know anything about it. And some kind of lie must have got round, and this lie went round. I thought people started being funny in that cafe, the factory. I couldn't understand it. Then one day they took me to a hospital right outside London. They got me there. I didn't want to go. Anyway, I tried to get out quite a few times. It wasn't very easy. They asked me questions in there, got me in and asked me all sorts of questions. Well, I told them when they wanted to know what my thoughts were. Then one day, this man, doctor I suppose, the head one, he was quite a man of distinction, although I wasn't so sure about that. He called me in. He told me I had something. He said they'd concluded their examination. That's what he said. And he showed me a pile of papers, and he said that he had got something, some complaint, he said. He just said that. You see, you've got this thing. That's your complaint. And we've decided, he said, that in your interests there's only one course we can take, he said, but I can't exactly remember how he put it. He said, we're going to do something to your brain, he said. If we don't, you'll be in here for the rest of your life, but if we do, you stand a chance. You can go out, he said, and live like the others. What do you want to do with my brain? I said to him, but he just repeated what he'd said. Well, I wasn't a fool. I knew I was a minor. I knew he couldn't do anything to me without getting permission. I knew he had to get permission from my mother. So I wrote to her and told her what they were trying to do, but she signed their form, you see, giving them permission. I know that because she showed me her signature when I brought it up. Well, that night, I tried to escape that night. I spent 5 hours sawing at one of the bars on the window in this ward, right throughout the dark. They used to shine a torch over the beds every half hour, so I timed it just right. And then it was nearly done, and a man had a fit right next to me, and they caught me anyway. About a week later, they started to come round and do this thing to the brain. We were all supposed to have it done in this ward, and they came round and did one at a time, one a night. I was one of the last. I could see quite clearly what they did to the others. They used to come round with these, I don't know what they were. They looked like big pincers with wires on. The wires were attached to a little machine that was electric. They used to hold the man down, and this chief doctor used to fit the pincers, something like earphones. He used to fit them on either side of the man's skull. There was a man holding the machine, you see, and you turn it on, and the chief would just press these pincers on either side of the skull and keep them there, and he'd take them off. They'd cover the man up, and they wouldn't touch him again until later on. Some used to put up a fight, but most of them didn't. They just lay there. Well, they were coming round to me, and the night they came, I got up and stood against the wall. They told me to get on the bed, and I knew they had to get me on the bed, because if they did it while I was standing up, they might break my spine. So I stood up, and then one or two of them came for me. Well, I was younger then. I was much stronger than I am now. I was quite strong then. I laid one of them out, and I had another one round the throat. And then suddenly this chief had these pincers on my skull, and I knew he wasn't supposed to do it while I was standing up. That's why. Anyway, he did it. So I did get out. I got out of the place. But I couldn't walk very well. I don't think my spine was damaged. That was perfectly all right. The trouble was, my thoughts had become very slow. I couldn't think at all. I couldn't get my thoughts together. I could never quite get it together. The trouble was, I couldn't hear what people were saying. I couldn't look to the right or the left. I'd look straight in front of me, because if I turned my head round, I couldn't keep upright. And I had these headaches. I used to sit in my room. That was when I lived with my mother and my brother. He was younger than me, and I let everything out in order in my room. All the things I knew were mine, but I didn't die. The thing is, I should have been dead. I should have died. Anyway, I feel much better now. But I don't talk to people now. I steer clear of places like that cafe. I never go into them now. I don't talk to anyone like that. I've often thought of going back and trying to find the man who did that to me. But I want to do something first. I want to build that shit out in the garden.
Wow.